Hey there, Alex here. Welcome to Sweet Spot Soul and another episode. I'm just going to say right now, there may be a bit of a trigger warning ahead here. Just going to go on a bit of a riff, not a rant, but a riff that may not land for everyone. So if this resonates, fantastic. Give it a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe. I'm going to be opening up some new topics here that I will not be able to go deeply into, but there's been some things that have just been coming up that I really want to share and I want to clarify. And again, there's going to be offshoots of this video that are going to be continuing in upcoming episodes. And so make sure you subscribe. Okay. And of course, if this doesn't resonate for you, that's fine too, right? Just take what works and leave what doesn't. So one of the main things that I wanted to talk about, and I did two different episodes, 2 different times I did videos. I haven't published either of them about attachment, non-attachment, and detachment, and the difference of those things. And so I do want to touch on that a little bit today. In fact, maybe I'll just start with that, and then I'm going to go ahead and go into something that I think is so important about this journey, and that's kind of upsetting to me. About the approach. There's different approaches, obviously, in this journey, if you're on it, and how to come into union, and if that's your goal, or if inner union is your goal, right? So that's another topic that I'm going to kind of touch on here today. So hang in there. Again, it might be a little bit long. So let's first talk about attachment, non-attachment, and detachment. So basically the root of all the suffering, a lot of suffering, I should say, is attachment itself, attachment. And what happens is we get attached to the other person outside of us that we think is separate from us. And we get attached to the idea of twin flames and the whole concept about it, and all of the romanticized versions of it being your one and only. And that we get attached to that person also because we think that they are special, right? Which is fine if you want to say that they are your divine counterpart, sure, but special in the sense that they are separate from you and that you will not be whole without them. That is an attachment. And then there's the attachment that things need to look this way or look that way, or that things, where you are, your attachment to time looking a certain way, to union looking a certain way, all of the things, right? There's just so much that in trying to understand the journey, and in trying to identify with where the heck you are on this journey and with the pain that you're feeling, that we get kind of clingy with, and then we start to compare and we start to assess and judge our progress and what we're doing right or wrong. I mean, it's just a freaking cluster, right? Mess. And then we don't even have the eyes to see if perhaps there's something else that we should be focusing on or some other way. And we're losing touch and losing sight with going within. And so the whole journey, in essence, launches you into a spiritual awakening, into coming back into wholeness. It's not wholeness with the outside person. That's, again, basically a side effect of it. But wholeness within, wholeness with your soul. Now, oh gosh, there's just so much here. So that wholeness is really the goal. That is the calling that you're feeling. You're getting called by the soul to come back into wholeness, to come out of separation consciousness into unity consciousness, to come out of a distorted masculine feminine principle, which is why we're in separation consciousness, into a unified masculine feminine principle of balance. And that union, that inner union, that sacred marriage, that Heros Gamos, is what unlocks our multidimensionality. Doesn't mean you don't have access to these other planes otherwise. It's just, it can be more fleeting or it can be imbalanced. When we have all of these chakras balanced and those principles balanced, we are in what's called union, inner union, and Heros Gamos. And that is when everything outside just is, it's perfect, right? And that's where these things, all the outside world reflects and attracts soul. So that's the goal. But we get attached to the twin. We get attached to the idea of this and attached to that and all the way things look, and we're meddling with everything outside of us. And so this stance is not to detach, because when you detach, you're detaching. If you wanted to try to detach from your twin, you're trying to detach from a soul. You're trying to detach from a reflection in a mirror that's showing you yourself and your energy. It's reflecting your energy, I should say. what's the point in that? It's not about detaching and because when you try to detach, you have to still see that as separate to detach from it. Just like if you attach to something, you see it as separate and you're clinging to it. So there's attachment, which is clinging to something that's separate from you. There's detachment that you can only do if you see that thing separately from you to detach from it. And then there's just non-attachment. Okay, that's the center point. That is the 0 point. Non-attachment is a level of presence and allowance. Okay, so I want to get this principle down first before I go into this next rant about how to come into union that we're hearing from in different ways from different coaches and people out there that are teaching this journey. And the responsibility that goes with that, you guys. Okay, so now we understand detachment. You have to still have a separate object in your mind from the ego that you are detaching from, or attachment is something, again, a construct or something from the ego that you are attaching to. If you want to detach from anything at all, it's from the attachments themselves. It's from the addictions. It's from the ways of being. You only want to detach from egoic constructs of things, not from reality. You don't want to detach from reality, okay? You want to detach only from addictions, from attachment itself. I'm going to detach from this idea of attaching, okay? But really, ultimately, we're trying to come to the center point. Again, this is non-attachment. This is a beautiful state of acceptance. After non-attachment, which is somewhat neutral, comes acceptance. And we reached that stage really by surrendering deeply into the moment, surrendering into the quieter voice of the soul rather than the louder voice of the ego. We surrender into that. We surrender into the actual sensations of the emotions that are wanting to move through us. We're allowing that. We're not resisting anything. So we're not detaching from the body. We're not detaching from the mind. We are actually coming into acceptance, forgiveness, surrender. Okay. If we're having a thought that's causing a bad feeling, we don't just like try to throw it out. We have to see that and say, I'm sorry, I'm having a thought that's distorted. I can feel that. It's okay. I'm having a distorted thought that's not in alignment with how Source God sees it or how my soul sees it. I feel it in my body. Can I bring this to the heart? Can I surrender to it? Can I forgive myself for that? Can I feel through that? And is there something for me to learn with that? That is freaking non-attachment. That is presence. That is healing, right? And this is how you make room to embody soul. Now, let me go here. So many coaches, they say, don't focus on the outcome being getting the twin. And then they say, at the same time, out of the other corner of the other corner of their mouth, they're saying, but if you want the fastest way to get back to your twins, this is it. Get in soul, just get in soul, get in soul, get in soul. Okay, I love that, right? We want to be in soul, but we don't want to check out and detach from the body and the mind and say, we're not this, I'm not this, I'm not that. That's a beautiful experience. It's wonderful. I just did a video on it on my other channel. It's a beautiful experience. Samadhi, gorgeous, right? You want to attract the twin in 72 hours. Okay, get into a samadhi state. It will work. But will you keep them there when you still have all that distortion and all that stuff? No, not unless you stay in soul and you become hypervigilant to be in soul. And you have a whole different experience of living and relating with that person, that twin, because you have to in order to keep them from running. And you have to remain there, right? And then meanwhile, you're being somebody else in every other relationship. That is not authenticity. That is not being true to being the vessel of your soul. That's being this and being that. Please hear me on this, because one of my highest values is being authentic, being who I am everywhere. And it's something, if I have pride anywhere, that's an area of pride I have. People who know me say, Alex is Alex here, she's that here, she's that here. She's consistent across the board. It's the same personality everywhere. She's not this face and that mask. And I'm not saying this to sound egoic. I'm literally, it's something that is just, maybe it's baked in. I don't know. Maybe it's from all the therapy. Maybe it's from all the work and the whatever. But being authentic and being myself has not been, it has been hard all my life. even coming into this arena is not freaking easy. It's been 2 months since I've been on here. I've already was massively attacked within my first week. And it was like, well, I am being called to this. Soul put me here. I'm here to serve you. And that's a high responsibility to not teach you something that's going to check you out from presence in your life, or that's going to take you away from your authenticity. So granted, again, love to meditate. I love to be in soul. I love to be present. But presence in the body is called embodiment of soul. And enlightenment is called detaching from the body and the mind and being, out here. We are meant to bring the heart and the mind together. We are meant to synthesize our chakras into the heart right now. We're not moving into full, complete out of this body enlightenment. You certainly can. You can go on the mountain and contemplate your navel and go for it. And you know what? If I were Buddha in those days, in the dark ages, I'd have done the same thing. But Jesus came here to show us how to be kind to your neighbor, how to relate with people, how to find the kingdom of heaven within, how to embody, be the embodiment of the Christ. That is the second coming. You guys, we are on this journey to be the Christ itself here in the flesh in every relationship. And if we can't relate with the twin until we have that embodiment, and it makes your journey a little longer because you're actually present and not just in soul only, then so be it. That's the journey. That's why it's so hard to just be with them without, being semi-aloof and on guard. Now, I'm not saying every united twin is this way. I'm not saying every teacher is saying this. Go with whoever resonates, of course. What I'm trying to say is I'm trying to help you to master the skills of feeling your feelings, of going to soul, listening to the body, doing your own muscle testing, to ask to inquire of your soul, to speak, to listen to your soul. Yes, go into meditation and contemplate in your meditation. Try to get your soul to speak so you can really communicate beautifully with the soul. Is this the action I'm supposed to be taking right now? Is this action in alignment with me, or is this the action of the ego? And always go with soul. Maharishika, write that down, look her up. She's an incredible Indian teacher who teaches this. And this is something that I've been teaching forever, like really not her teaching so much, but I just found her like about a year ago. Amazing, totally in alignment. It's amazing. And it's exactly the opposite of the whole Neo-Advaita movement of just being in soul, bypassing the body and the mind and going straight into these higher states. Again, beautiful states. Yes, they're going to bring the twin in, but not, is that the goal? If one point we're saying you're meant to embody and be this and be the soul and spiritually awaken, and then the other side we're saying, but make sure you're going to have to check out. You're going to have to check out with how do you function in your life? How do you take care of your health? How do you do work? How do you engage with your children when you're checking out all the time? The more you check out, the less you want to be in the world. The less in touch you are, the less in tune you are. You look at some of these gurus, they would come down off the mountain, and if they even chose to, and they would have to reintegrate into life. It would take them years to learn how to get back into the world and how to take care of the body again, and function in the world. I want you to come into an inner union, the highest states, the highest frequencies, the highest functionality and resonance with your soul, that you become that instrument of the soul, and that it is you. It is you. And I promise you, how you feel when you get into this beautiful union within is like, you feel the presence moving through you all the time. I don't have to sit and meditate to reach samadhi to feel amazing. I'm actually, as I'm working with clients right now, I'm getting this rising feeling of bliss within that I'm starting to recognize. And I kind of had a download the other day that the person I'm working with is asking me for assistance there, for help, right? And my intention is to be that vessel for them. And it's like, we'll just be connecting about something. It's not even like some gift. I'm not taking credit for it. But I feel this energy move through me, even over Zoom, right? there's no time or space. I feel it rise and move through me, and they're getting like these great results. It's just incredible. And that is the being in the body. It is embodying soul. It's not denying it. So what I'm trying to, so again, I'm feeling really passionate about this right now, because there are people that are teaching, which again, if it resonates, it's fine, but they're just like this. They're saying it's not important to do the work. It's not important to look at the active energies that are distorted, that are in your life right now. They're saying you don't need to even think about looking at what's being reflected, energetically in the world around you, and especially from the twin, to not inquire. Don't worry about all of that. Don't worry about the masculine feminine balance. Are you kidding me? This is the whole journey. And if you don't want to worry about it, and you want to sit and get into Zen and bring the twin in and be on guard and be hyper vigilant and slowly, learn how that's only going to work if you keep working on yourself, that's fine. Some people will tell you it's as simple as this, and you're going to have the twin contacting you right away. But then on the inside, when you get into the course, it's like, okay, here's the child work, here's the wounding work you need to do, here's the other things. And it's true. It needs to be done. If we're not willing to do the work, how are we supposed to expect to get the prize, right? What's the prize? Bliss, union with your soul. And yes, it shows up in every way. Okay, I hope this isn't too rant-like, but I just really want you to hear the difference between detachment, which would be high states of enlightenment eventually, and detaching from your life in any normal, regular way of being engaged with life, in order to have the twin, which again is not supposed to be the goal. It's like, I just want to check out. It's basically like saying, okay, well, the twin's not the goal. I'm on this journey. I just want to check out. So how can I just check out and la myself to bliss? And really, no, be present, tune in with soul, be with soul, align with soul, but recognize that there's alchemy to be done here. There's transmuting to be done. This is all the stuff I keep teaching, to work with those things. Don't deny those things. So again, it's either detachment or attachment, which is going to cause pain. Those two things are of the ego. Those are the two opposite sides, right? That need an object in order to attach or detach from. Those are both separation consciousness. They're not going to take you to where you want to be. Come to the center, to acceptance, to non-attachment. It starts as a neutrality, and then it moves into a willingness to continue to work and look into these things, and then it moves into true acceptance. You work with forgiveness. Okay, these are all topics I'm going to go deeper into. You work with forgiveness. You work also with surrender, deep surrender, not surrender to the moment and just pretend like that's detaching. It's not just surrendering to the moment. It's surrendering to the resistance, feeling that there's something resisting, and then asking, and then taking radical responsibility for allowing the feeling to move through, and for figuring out what you might need to figure out, or just asking for whatever that revelation is. And in each moment, that surrender is, what is impulsing this action? Is it my soul, or is it my ego? Which one? And always going with the ego. So I feel like I want to pick up the phone and text my person. Okay, is that coming from here, or is that coming from here? Okay, and then the next impulse, and then the next impulse, and then moment to moment impulse. What is this, right? Most of the time you'll be able to just go through it. But if you actually get that present, if you want to practice presence, it's not about practicing checking out. It's about checking in. What's the soul saying? Or is that my ego? So again, Maharishika, look her up. Beautiful Indian teacher online on YouTube. She's actually has a few twin flame teachings as well. And just excellent. And so she has, again, came back into, when I say she came into my world about a year ago, maybe not quite a year ago, maybe more like 7 months ago. Huge help along for me, and am very much in alignment with what I've been doing, but just in new languaging. So when I say surrendering to soul, a lot of that is her verbiage. But very similarly, I would say, feel the feelings, obey the nudges. Okay, those nudges are your soul speaking, It's a very different feeling than the ego. So pay attention to those differences, learn those differences within yourself. And that's the level of presence. That's the level of tuning into yourself. That's the self-love. That is the put your attention on you. Every time you feel that urge out here to, put your energy and your attention on your twin, that's where your focus and energy goes. You just knowing that's my soul calling me, calling for my attention right now. Every single time. Okay, what is that? What was that urge? Was it coming from here or was it coming from here? And then you are able to move through those energies and alchemize those energies. And so you're making more and more room for soul embodiment, not detachment, but embodiment. Okay, that's my rant for today. I'd love your thoughts on it. I am getting to comments, I promise. I haven't done it for 5 days. I just wanted to get this out. Again, I had two other videos that I did over 2 days, and it was not embodying what I wanted to say. So I'm hoping that this makes some good sense for you guys. Let me know your thoughts, and I will dive into some more of these topics that I started to open up here. I hope that this resonated. Again, if it didn't, that's okay too. And you might choose to stick around or not, but I want you to know where I'm coming from. And I'm not dissing other teachers, other coaches. They all have their own intent and their own way of teaching. For me, that self-responsibility is it's so important that I don't take on the karma of you checking out. If you check out and you're not present with your current circumstances or your children or your job or your health, obviously anything unlike your highest will likely have fallen away or will fall away because you've been activated on this journey, and all of those distortions need to be worked out. I'm not going to tell you can ignore it and la yourself to heaven, like many other people are saying. I'm saying we have to work with that stuff, but I don't want you to la your way and let all that stuff have your world completely fall apart and not take responsibility for those things and what's really next. And it takes deep presence and deep connection with soul, and becoming more and more the vessel for soul, more and more that, as she calls it, the instrument of the soul. And then you become that. That is it. That is the true journey here. And then again, everything else that you're asking for, that you're wanting, including that twin, if they are meant to come in their time, once they have their ego has degraded and they've caught up with the higher self that you've been working on, that you're being, when that happens, if that happens, however that happens, we're not attached to that. We are accepting of that, whatever that looks like. No judgment. Everyone's journey is entirely different. Everyone has a whole different ego and set of things to work through. So don't compare your journey with anyone else's. Just be vigilant in the sense of resonating with what's your journey, like what your journey needs to be for you and what matters to you, and paying attention to where your focus is so that you can bring it back in and do the actual work. There is work to do here on this journey. There's no cheating. Okay, I'll talk to you guys soon. I hope you enjoyed this. Have a great weekend.